Welcome back to Love Life After. I'm your host, Christelle, and today I'll be talking about stepping into new spaces physically, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. As we all know, sometimes change can be uncomfortable, but it's also where our growth begins.
Baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen. Baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen, a black queen.
Welcome back to Love Life After. So, today I do want to talk about something a little uncomfortable that some of us really don't like talking about, right? So, like I said earlier, like change is something that a lot of us are uncomfortable about because we're scared to grow. So, this past weekend, I met with a friend of mine that, I haven't seen in a while, and she was talking about change. So it made me want to do this episode because after having conversation with her, I just realized how scary it is for some people to take that leap, right? Because I was in a similar situation to myself. But I also believe that really, going through that is also where we really start doing our growth. So, and I feel like sometimes God will, move us in different direction when we are ready. And I was talking to her and I realized that she wanted to do the move, right? She wanted to make that move, but her significant other is not ready. So sometimes we can't force the people that are not ready to make that move. And everything, of course, and I know I say this over and over again, but everything happened for a reason at the right season. So this episode was really not what I wanted to talk about today, but I really want to talk about this because I wanted to share some of the lessons, right? And she, just talking to her, she was like, girl, like all the advice that I gave her, she felt like I could have a whole episode about this. So I figured, okay, why not? And hopefully one day she'll come on and, share her experiences with you guys. So, like I was saying earlier, or sometimes the move that we make is not to break us, right? But it's really to build us into something that we are meant to become, right? And if you are like somebody who's spiritual, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. Because for me, and I've talked about this before, but I'm just gonna go over a little bit. So this year, right? So I've moved to this new city. I was all excited, but if I'm being honest, it was also scary in the beginning. So this is why I really wanted to talk about this because I know I've shared some, but I don't think I really dive into the meaning for me, right? So, all right, let's go back real quick. So I left behind I guess what was familiar to me. I left behind my community, I left my routine, my comfort zone. I left it all. But at the same time, you know, there was other changes in between. I know I've shared about how my daughter went to college, my son, transitioned into a new school, and I left my whole family, and we had to learn like how to balance the going back and forth, the our routine all over again. So there were moments where like, I even questioned it. Did I make the right decision? But I know, like, I don't know if I shared this, but I was actually the one like pushing my husband for the move, right? So, but looking back now, I see how, the places that we left, right? It was holding so much like heaviness. It was just so much heaviness I'm not saying in the actual house, but I'm just saying in the area. There was so much that went on that I really just wanted a fresh start. And then when the opportunity came up, I literally encouraged my husband over and over again to make that move because I do believe that at that time, it was our time. It was, it was the what's going to push us into our growing stage. Um, and honestly, like emotionally and spiritually, and even in my own faith, I feel like that move really brought up a lot. And of course, I'm gonna go back and share. I just wanted to share a little bit of that. But like some of the lessons that I learned really like encouraged me to really push through no matter what. So because at the beginning of the move, I was having some emotional setback, right? I didn't really know if this was, the right move, but then again, I was like, you know what? I prayed about this and this is it. Because when I feel like, some things are not going right, I just go back and say, okay, there was a reason why you wanted to make this move. So enjoy it and take it as God's telling you to move into the next direction. I hope that makes sense. I know I've said a lot, but really what I'm trying to say with the lesson, I feel like growth required like us to really surrender, especially when we step into something new, right? So sometimes we often, want to control every detail of our life. But being in new spaces, it invite us to like really surrender to our old ways. Like we have to learn to trust that even if we can't see the full picture, that God's already has a plan and his plan is already in place. And sometimes those lessons isn't just about, us changing what's around us, but it's also about like becoming who we are within us, right? And sometimes like I decide, well, not sometimes, but lately, these are some of the stuff that I say to myself. Earlier today, like right before I started recording, I started saying, I release control and I trust that every new step is ordered from good and for my good. Like I kept repeating that. I said, every new step that I take is ordered for my good and it's from God. And I kept repeating that. Like the more I start saying those affirmations, I feel like the more that I know that this move was for my own good and for the betterment of my family. So, and another thing that I've been, struggling with, but I feel like it's a sign of like transformation a little bit because it was the discomfort. The discomfort of the whole transformation. It was just like, man, like we really are somewhere where we have nobody, but they're all, my husband has a cousin out here and then I also have a friend out here. But we don't live so, close to each other like I did with my family where I could just like drive there when I feel like just getting away. But now it's like, this is it. This is the discomfort that I was talking about. Like, and just like a seed has to break before it grows, like, do y'all know what I'm saying? Like, stepping into new territory could feel like breaking. I felt like I was literally breaking. But the discomfort for me, it really just mean expansion. I know I've talked about also sharing some things that have been going on, right? So, and I'm gonna go into that later. Do you have an inspiration to start your own podcast? Are you still undecided about starting your podcast? Well, Buzzsprout has the tool to support and to help you along your way. And they also have a community to ensure you keep on podcasting. Buzzsprout have helped over 400,000 podcasters launch their shows since 2009. So we've seen it all. I've been using Buzzsprout since 2017. Buzzsprout has helped us list our episode on so many platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Deezer, Pandora, and so much more. Buzzsprout has reached over millions of listeners by listening to our podcast in all these platforms. If you are still unsure about which platform to use, click the link in my description box and head over to Buzzsprout to get more information. Remember, that's BUZZSPROUT.com. Again, BUZZSPROUT.com. Happy podcasting. Being in the season of unlearning and learning and, making room for something greater, which really has been like a game changer for me, because you can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. And I've learned that, and I've been learning that because I've been so busy doing things that I would have never thought that I would be doing, or I would be in that space right now. But it was that move that led me with the opportunities that I have right now. Ooh, excuse me. And even like in uncertainty, I know I'm growing. I know my discomfort is not my defeat for sure. Like, I know that for sure, because it's pushing me to grow. It's pushing me to develop my mind, even like expanding my mind and thinking about things that I would have never thought about before. And I know, like I was saying earlier, this episode was not what I wanted to talk about, but I feel like God is pushing me to talk more about this, because what it is like, like I said earlier, it in a few episodes back, new beginning, right? It's all about new beginning, new space in our life. So, being in a new space, like, I feel like to me is bringing strength. I found strength that I didn't even know or realize that it was in me, because every time I walk into something unfamiliar, just like being around, I feel like I'm stepping into like a new version of myself. And like, in a way, like, every now and then I'll call myself, like, I just get excited um about the things that are happening. And I encourage myself that keep going. Like, sometimes every now and then I'll just whisper to myself a little bit, keep going, like, you got this, like, you got this, this is going to be great, this is your season. And I'll say things like that to myself. And when we do that, like, I feel like a lot of us need to get into the habit of doing that, because when we do that, we actually discover that we are far more capable, right? We are very capable, we are resilient and grounded, that we have to, keep going. Then we've, especially when we've like realized that it's not just about us, that there's like a higher being, and that God is like, giving us those signs to really listen to and to follow, right? Because we're just like this small person, and then we have all these big ideas, but those are ideas, like, we may think they're coming from us, but they're really like God ideas, right? God's purpose for our life. So, and I'm trying to, I've realized that that's where, or that's how, not where, but that's how I should be really living my life, because I feel like right now in my season, I am very equipped for every new chapter. And I know that what's meant for me will be, will meet me, or like will come to me. If it's not meant for me, then oh well. But where I am in my season, I believe that what's meant for me will meet me right where I am right now in this season. And one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk about this, of course, I told you, like, my friend, right? Like, we had a conversation, and she was like, okay, I don't know about, moving and things like that. But just realizing that it's not the same for everyone. Like, some people are just like, go getter, they're ready. But some of us is like very scary. It's a scary thing. And, like, finding ways to, like, find affirmation to speak about the things that we are unfamiliar with, it actually do help a lot. So the bigger picture, and something that I want to challenge all of us to do, is this happening? We need to start asking, what is this really teaching me? What do I need to learn from this, right? Because you know, I know, new spaces challenge us in different ways, but they also strip away our comfort zone, right? And reveal who we really are. And that allow us to like think more on other things. Like my pastor was saying this past week, it open up other files. And sometimes we don't want to open those files, right? We want to like keep those files closed because we had to close them for a reason. So when God shifts us, it's never to harm us. It's also to prepare us for what's good to come. Like what's, you know, the new direction he wants us to be. So stepping into something new, like it take courage, but it's also building our faith, right? It's taking that leap of faith to really get us to where we need to be. And like a lot of the time we do things just because we're like, oh, it's time to do it, but really like start listening to that voice inside of you. Listen to that voice and ask yourself, right? What space is God calling me into that that I'm afraid to go? Like, where is God calling me to step into? Where does God want me to be in this space in my life? It may be like, it may be a new career or a relationship or healing journey or just simply new version of you. And that I want to talk a little bit more about that too, going back. 'Cause the episode that I was supposed to release was actually supposed to be about the new journey of like, finding, losing relationship and finding the new version of yourself, right? But I do want you to remember that discomfort doesn't mean that you're in the wrong place in your life. Sometimes it's the greatest sign that you are exactly where you need to be, like in this moment. So when you have those thoughts, right? When you have those negative thoughts, saying, oh, why did I do this? Or asking yourself those questions about, why is this happening? Like, turn that and say, what is teaching me? What is God teaching me in this moment that I need to listen to? And when you start thinking like that, and when you start, asking yourself those questions, like, you know, about where it is that you need to be in the season that you are in your life, just simply, say those positive affirmation. Um, ask God to guide you, like ask God to lead you into the purpose. Ask God, like really ask God, what do you want me to do right now? What space do you want me to be? When you start, saying those things and allowing that discomfort to just like pass you by, I promise you, you are going to be the best version of yourself. And that's the space that I am in now because I have been, in the best space, like the best place, the spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and also physically. All of that stem from making the move that we did. And that's why I believe that it's important for us to like talk about the move, talk about the discomfort, talk about, our purpose because they lead us to where God really wants us to be in life. And that place right now is where I am. And I just pray that everyone that is experiencing anything right now where they feel like, they need to figure out what it is that they want, don't figure it out. Just pray about it and let God guide you to the direction that you're meant to be, to lead you to the purpose, your purpose, where you're supposed to be. And if you're struggling with it, like pray about it. Set those foundation where you have consistency prayer life, where you like literally sitting with God every day, every morning, ask God, where it is, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to be? And what purpose of mine that you need to align with the people that are around me. Surround me with like the people that are meant to be in my life, right? And then everything else I promise will fall into place. And just being in that space, like it really had allowed me to grow not just my business but my mental it has literally allowed me to grow me myself, like in all those aspects, like the emotionally, the physically, um like, talking back a little physical. I've been doing something that I used to walk a lot, but I've learned that I don't need to be walking. That's like a comfort, something that I had to like let go, because I realized that walking was not putting me where I want to be physically. Because, I've been talking about this for years. I was saying that I need to gain weight, I need to gain weight, but I love walking. So I've limited my walk instead of like 4 or 5 days a week. I've limited my walks to just two, sometimes once a week. And then I've implemented Pilates. I've been doing a lot of Pilates because physically I know where I want myself to be. And honestly, like, the move allowed me to figure that out, because I have all the time. I do and I don't. I have all the time right now where I can really focus on, taking those steps to get to where I want to be in my health journey, like with my weight. Like, I need to, I can't keep no weight on myself. And I know sometimes that's a problem that I shouldn't want to have, but that's something that that was like discomfort that I've turned into something positive. And with the emotional part of the move for me, it was really, just allowing myself to really connect with myself more, to pray more, to ask God for guidance through all this transition, right? And mentally, I feel like I'm in the best space, period. Like, I'm doing so much that I'm taking time for myself. I'm implementing things like self-care routine. I'm implementing things to help me grow my business. Um, and I'm in a great place right now. And I do, like, the next episode, I don't know what direction I'm gonna lead to. I'm just allowing God to, like, talk to me, and I'm asking God, what is it that you want me to talk about? Like, and then allow God to, like, bring that out, because I don't want to force myself or force anything or any relationship that, does not align with my the what I guess the space I'm in now. I'm learning to just let go and let God, and have like complete release, and release all my control to God, because that's where my growth started, from allowing God to take control, and just, let him take the wheel. If y'all heard that saying, Lord, take the wheel, that's me. Every day I'm like, God, today's your day. I'm gonna have a great day, but I need you to be in the center of everything that I'm doing. And that really has allowed me to grow in my spiritually journey and my emotional part of my life too as well. I know I've just talked about so much, but I think this is probably a good place to stop. And this message is to my friend and everyone that's out there struggling with wanting to, change something in their life, wanting that new beginning, or, get into that new space. Like, this message is for you. And I want you to know that you are not alone. And no matter what it is that you are going through, like, God got you. You got this. Keep going. You are loved. And then you are going to get through it. Because if I could do it, anybody else could do it. And if you need help, just reach out. Like, I'm always, like, open to listen and to talk to. Come on the podcast. Share your story with me. And let me know how we can help each other. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. And of course, if this episode spoke to you in any way, please share with somebody who you feel like might need to listen to this, might, be standing, anybody that may be like, just standing on the edge, like trying to figure out, if this the right move or not. Share this with them and let them know that they are not alone, and they too can get to the space that they want to be in their life. And until next time, just remember that the unknown can be like, even though like the unknown can be scary, but it's also where your greatest growth begins. Just step boldly into that new chapter. Trust deeply, trust yourself, trust God, have faith, and keep loving life after. And just remember that it all starts with you. And if you have any question, comment, or concern, please email us at lovelifeafter18@gmail.com or our social media at love.lifeafter. And we will really appreciate it if you will like, share our YouTube content, and then subscribe if you have not already subscribed. Buy us a coffee if you feel like, if you feel inclined to do so. Everything that we do, every donation that we get is going toward bettering the podcast. And all the feedback that you give us, I've been really trying my best to implement in this episode, in all the episodes that have been coming up this season. Until next time, I love you, I appreciate you, and be great. Go be yourself. And remember to love life after all. Bye.